How are you, everybody who is watching this video? Whether you're international or national student or viewer, I would like to welcome you into this fantastic moment of the sessions of in departments of one of the sessions in departments of higher engineering and scientific mathematics. My name is Olenjolai Moko TAYAI Losingo. Simply call me Olenjolai. I'm from United Republic of Tanzania. This is our national flag. I would like to welcome you into one of our official online schools or online institutions that call the Online Undergraduate Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania, square bracket OLENJOLAIM. Simultaneously, because I'm teaching you engineering and scientific mathematics, I'd like to welcome you in one of our YouTube channels that called Online Undergrad Polyinstitute of Tanzania, square bracket OLENJOLAIM. So I would like just to remind you quickly about the visions we have, and then we have to go straightforwardly into the targeted area where that we have to focus on the today's session. Well, so this you know that the word of God say in the book of Proverbs, the wise man, the wise man who has been the King Solomon, he said that if there's no visions, people perish. So if you don't have vision in Online Undergraduate Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania, then we are going to perish. We, the teachers, and even the students also are going to perish. So I'll be reminding you several times so that this information should be written in our mind, because that's what giving us courage, and thus we cannot give up because we know what God has declared in our heart. So this is the vision that we have in the Online Undergraduate Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania. We like to teach. We have an assignment to teach, incubate, train, mentor, lead some group of students who are ready to take the classroom instructions that they are receiving in mathematics in their core modules or core courses, to combine with the knowledge of Word of God from the Bible in order to solve real life problems. So you see, the main objective that we have in Online Undergraduate Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania is not to teach students to pass exam. However, that in many of our sessions will be helping students to understand their classroom contents or classroom modules or courses in order to reduce their stress and fear from failing the continuous assessment and also the final exam. So if we reduce their fear, then we can teach them how to think it differently and think outside the box. Because our aim, we want to see our continuing students who are undergraduate and also our undergraduate students to think on how they can take the information, the knowledge, the skills, the techniques that have been learning for several years in academics or in education, and turn them to become solutions of real life problems, or of a small scale problems, or large scale or medium scale problems, or extraordinary large scale problems in your community, or even your own problems. You can solve your own problem. You can be solving more than one problem. For instance, myself, I'm a product of both. I'm a product of the classroom instructions. I'm also a product of the Word of God that has been sharpening my mind, sharpening my heart, making me to focus and making me to think about real life problems existing in my community, in my country, and even later on in my continents. So, and then God give me wisdom to solve those problems. So that's our main objective, to see at least you are solving even the small problems of fixing a problems in your house or in your family, concerning about a light bulb which is not turning on, or the fan which is not actually producing or performing well, or is producing some noises when it's working. So we have some specific objective also in this in Online Undergraduate Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania. One of the specific objectives we like, first of all, to make our students to love engineering and scientific mathematics. Our second objective, we like to teach our students on how they can master scientific and the engineering mathematics for the rest of their life. And our third specific objective, we like to have them to how to solve the tutorial questions, and also to understand the questions which have been asked in past papers, and questions in books, in different textbooks, and even in previous exams, so that they have to go well and do very well in the year continuing assessment. And also the fourth specific objective relate to prepare all our students in order to become victor in the university exams or the final exam. So we have so many specific objectives that we'll be spending or taking some time in order to achieve them. Simply, we'd like just to insist you to make sure that you visit our YouTube channels, and then you will see all the contents there. So once you see all of these contents, then you will find that they are helpful for you, so that you'll learn and even have a lot of information to share with your colleagues when you'll be going through yourself. So it's very important for you to subscribe so that you get notifications, because in the departments of higher engineering and scientific mathematics, we are teaching 12 courses or 12 modules which are taught in undergraduate level in United Republic of Tanzania. We'll be teaching you 4 courses that you will learn them if you are students of University of Dar es Salaam, or if you are students of any engineering institutions or college or university in Tanzania. We're going to teach you also, because as we say that, if you remember that we say that this is a beautiful country, Tanzania. Mathematics is universal. So even if you're reaching this content from Serbia, from Europe, from UK, from Sweden, from Canada, from North America, from USA, from China, from Indonesia, Australia, South Africa, Central Africa, Cameroon, regardless of where you are, mathematics is universal. So this preliminary information is just for the Tanzanians, but also even yourself is better if you know our educational system. Yeah. So this preliminary information, but when I'll be solving, maybe I'll be teaching about the function of several variables, it's common, worldwide. In every country, every undergraduate students have to learn about 30. Every scientific and engineering undergraduate students have learned about 30 functions of several variables. So it's universal. So you are still in right place, in right institutions. So stay focused and remain. Just I will spend a few minutes to speak something which is very important for the Tanzanians. So in Tanzania, we have 2 authorities that are accrediting or overseeing legally the higher educations. This is TCU, Tanzania Commissions for Universities, and also we have NACTE, right? We have NACTE. So these 2 associations, here we means that is focusing on knowledge-based, right? And also here NACTE is focusing on competence-based, right? Competence-based. So there are so many institutions under NACTE. For example, there is some Institute of Technology. For example, Mbeya University, okay? Mbeya University of Science and Technology. For example, Karume Institute of Science and Technology. Also, for example, Arusha Technical College, Al Maktoum's also Institute of Technology, you see, of technology. So we have so many Kampala International Schools, you see. So, and at TCU also we have University of Dar es Salaam, so we have St. Joseph College of Engineering and Technology. We have also University of Dodoma, UDOM. This is UDOM. We have so many. We have Zanzibar State University. We have University of Zanzibar. So you have so many universities which are providing undergraduate. So it's difficult for me to teach all the 4 courses or modules in every institution. So I just preferred and used. I visited so many curriculums, and the course contents or course outlines in different institutions concerned about the engineering mathematics or scientific mathematics. And finally, I realized that there is a close relationship, because NACTE is the one that oversees, and NACTE is making sure that the contents of mathematics and the rest of technology are not quite different from Arusha Technical College. Similarly, that is overseeing that the contents of engineering mathematics or scientific mathematics, which at Udsm called non-majors, or mathematics for the non-majors, at the rest of the rest are not quite different from the contents of mathematics in Zanzibar State University. So that's why that I'll be teaching 4 modules of the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology to represent all other institutions that are NACTE. And I'm also teaching 8 modules, 4 modules for Udsm and 4 modules for UDOM, just to make sure that I'm helping those students who are under TCU. So I'll like to do the quick review before we begin these sessions. We are in Departments of Fire Engineering and Scientific Mathematics. The course we have is called Several Variable Calculus, possibly that in institutions or college or university is called Engineering 2. This is a module or a course provided at University of Dar es Salaam as the first semester, second year students. So it can be called Engineering 3 because it's the second year, it's the first semester, second year, so Engineering 3. In some of the institutions, they call it Engineering 2 or Advanced Engineering or High Engineering. So don't worry about those names, the contents are likely the same. Okay. So the quick review before this lecture 1, which I'm going to teach about General Introduction of Function of Several Variables, FSV, then I would like to just do the quick review of the previous lecture. The previous lecture before this is lecture 00, which has been titled, is still our YouTube channel. That is, it has been titled as General Introductions of Function of Several Variable Calculus. So it's still there. So then, just to remind you quickly, first of all, I spoke about registration, and registration, these online registrations actually does not cost you any amount of money. You just need to have an email, then register yourself within a few minutes, then you are done. Also, I spoke about vision of the online school, but also I spoke about, if I speak about visions, I spoke about a problem that I'm solving, or problems that I'm solving in academic system of Tanzania, problems and solution. Also, I spoke about reference books that you need to use when you be learning this course of several variable calculus. So reference text and answer books. So reference text books and also question and answers books. Also, I told you about chapters of this course. So I spoke a lot and I've explained so many informations which are very important for our every new viewer. So if you're a new viewer, you haven't visited, please you can stop on visiting this because these continuations of what we have presented there. Now make sure that you watch lecture 00 before you come for the lecture 1. So welcome now to the lecture 1. This is chapter 1, function of several variables. Then we have lecture 1, so then you have general introductions of function of several variables. So let me start from the big picture, right? So let me start, because this is general introduction, big picture of Olenjolai in the course of several variable calculus. We have our beautiful subject called the mathematics. And I don't want to go to the bottom there. I just want to start from the level where you are right now. So this mathematics, first of all, in many of the institutions or college, is called the fundamental course or fundamental module. So this is called the fundamental course or module. What does it mean? The difference between the fundamental modules or course and the core module, right? The difference between them is the fundamental course provide tools that will be used in order to learn about your core modules, while the core modules or core courses really explaining about what you are studying. If you are learning about electrical engineering, you'll find you have your core subjects or courses that help you to learn about the electrical engineering. So, for instance, that you can go into different when you graduate your mathematics, possibly in A level, you have 2 routes. You may go to the TCU or institutions or colleges or universities and the TCU, or you may go for the NAT. So, regardless of where you are, let us suppose that you went for the TCU, and then you like to use the sample, which is University of Dar es Salaam. Right? University of Dar es Salaam. So, if this is the case, we say that, okay, fine. This fundamental course, it invests of the Islam, first of all, it is called as several variable calculus for non-measures. For instance, for applicants, specific applicants of of the subject. Okay. So to cover this module of several variable calculus or subject, not just to cover the fundamental course at University of Dar es Salaam and even all other institutions or all other colleges and all other colleges or institutions or universities under TCU, then we'll be going through 4 courses or 4 modules. So for University of Dar es Salaam, for instance, that we have a course called the MT161. This is called the Matrices and Basic C Calculus. Then next we have MT171. This is called the one variable calculus and the differential equation. Also you have a course called the MT261. And this is called the one that I'm teaching you now, several variable calculus. Then finally, or the last course is MT271. This is called the statistics for non-measures. So you need to learn about those 4 courses. Okay, those 4 courses in order for you to successfully graduate in your course. So if you take this MT200 to 261, which is several variable calculus, several variable calculus, several variable calculus, MT261, several variable calculus. So with this one, in order to cover this course, we need to learn basically 5 long topics. So according to the course outlines of University of Dar es Salaam and all of its associates, we have learned 5 topics. Do you know them? You can pause the video and then try to think and gauge if you've watched the general lecture, general introductions of several variable calculus. And you know the answer because I've answered these questions there. Right? So it has how many? It has 5 chapters that you have to cover. The first one is called the functions of several variables. Functions of several variables. That's the first one. Functions of several variables. Second one is called the vector differential calculus. Vector differential calculus. Third is called the integral calculus of the function. Integral calculus of the functions of. Integral calculus of the functions of. Integral calculus of the function of several variables. Then we have complexity analysis. Complexity analysis. Hence, Laplace transform. And Laplace transform, which is later also we say Laplace transform of FFT like this. So later on, so basically, these are the 5 topics: function of several variable, vector differential calculus, integral calculus, functions of the several variables. Then this is the C8 is complex analysis, and LOT stands for the Laplace transform. Right? If you have any question, don't hesitate yourself to ask in the comment section. I'll try my level best to reply your message. So then now the next part, let me, because I've mentioned in abbreviations, let me mention each part there and then see what happens, each topic there. So we say that the next part now we say that chapters. Chapters of 14 of several variable calculus. We have chapters of several variable calculus. So we say that according to this in course outline, only 5 chapters of several variable calculus. So let me list it again. Functions, so it can be written in your mind. Functions of several variables. Functions of several variables. This is the first topic that we want to do the introductions of it. The second one, functions of several variables, vector differential calculus. Say vector differential calculus. The lovers of engineering and scientific mathematics. Vector differential calculus. Vector differential calculus. Vector differential calculus. Then we go for the set, right? Functions, several variables are the first topic that you have to master, because the prerequisite of all of the next topics. Again, I want just to remind you that there are some prerequisite courses for this program. You have to remember well about your calculus your differentiations, your vector, right, in advanced level or in your ordinary diploma level. So you have vector differential calculus. Then the same topic we call it integral calculus of functions of 40 of several variables. So it's a vector differential calculus. We will see about some of the issues which are very important about characteristics there. Then the same topic we say that integral. So we'll be introducing the several variables for the first time. Then we have to teach about integral 40, integral several integrals of several variables, integrals of calculus of several variables. And a mistake here. Integral calculus integral variable calculus of functions of several variables. Of several variables. So integral calculus of functions of several variables. We are going to learn about functions of the 2 variable, 3 variable, etc., etc., etc. As long as we continue this, we join together in the next sessions. The integral calculus of functions of several variables. And the first topic is called the complex analysis. Say complex analysis. So complex analysis, very interesting topic. So complex analysis. Complex analysis. So complex sorting analysis. And the last key topic, which is very interesting in engineering and scientific mathematics, especially in electrical engineering, is Laplace transform. So say chapters of several variables calculus. So say according to the syllabus of NEF University of Westland, there are only 5 chapters or topics of several variable calculus that every student has to cover. And these are the chapters. Excuse me. Okay, so you have these 5 topics: function of several variables, vector differential calculus, integral calculus of the functions of several variables, complex analysis, Laplace transforms. So pronounce those topics because they will click in your mind and you won't forget them anymore. Okay, so afterwards, then now I would like to just to declare some few specific objectives that at the end of this course. So these are the specifically our all objectives. So we say objectives of what? Of learning. Objectives of learning. Of learning several variable calculus. So this is according to the course outline. So that's why I insisted you to have the course outline so you know where the board is going. Okay, so let me put. After completing you, means the students, this course, the student is expected to be able to one, develop necessary technique necessary techniques of differential calculus of several variables. So you, student, you are expected to be competent to develop necessary techniques. I will teach you how you can develop the necessary techniques of differential calculus of several variables. I know that you know the differential calculus of single variable, and thus will be our introductions of function of several variables. This is one of the specific objectives, right? The second objective is after completing this course, the students will be able to develop necessary techniques of differential and integral calculus. Develop necessary techniques of differential and integral calculus of vector valued function. Of differential and integral calculus of vector valued function. Calculus of vector valued functions. Vector valued functions. To set the specific objective, which is the last one, we are expected to understand the set. This is the set. We have the first. Understand the concept or the theory of complex analysis. The theory of complex analysis. Theory of complex analysis. Then the first specific objectives. So remember about the big picture, because even the topic of functions of several variables itself also, it contains several concepts. It says the theory of complex analysis and how to interpret results from the theory in real analysis. First one, you should be able to interpret interpret, right? Interpret the result from the theory of real analysis. Results from the theory of real analysis. The theory of real analysis. Number 5, we'll be able to use integral transform, integral transforms, and its applications, and their applications to solve differential equations, to solve applications in mathematics. So these are the 5 specific objectives that every student has to achieve at the end of learning the course of several variable calculus for undergraduate students. Right? Are you ready for that? Because I'll be with you and I'll build this specific objective continuously. It means that in every session or in every lecture, I'll be building at least one skill in your mind, so that at the end of this course, when I will tell you that now we have covered Laplace transform, you'll check yourself and analyze if you have met all of these 5 specific objectives. Again, at the University of Dar es Salaam, these modules of MT, and even not only University of Dar es Salaam, even some other universities, we say that these modules of several variable calculus is taught in 2 formats, variable calculus, right? So it is taught in terms of what? So it is to be taught, or it is to be taught as lecture. So lecture, several variable calculus lectures, and also there are tutorials, right? Lectures and tutorials. So even myself, I'm going to use the same style that you are using in your classroom instructions. Remember that my main objective is to omit any fear and even the beliefs that many students used to believe, and many of the Tanzanians and the Africans used to believe that mathematics is a disease of the nation. And I disagree with that phrase. Mathematics is not a disease of the nations. Mathematics is the best solutions of the nation, best solutions of the national problems. So now let me end this session with this concept that we are going to cover in the functions of several variables. So we have some concepts that we have to cover in this topic. So concepts of function of several variable calculus. So function of several variables. So the topic is called functions of several variables. So there are some concepts that we are going to cover. Let me mention them quickly. The first concept is function, or teach about functions of several variables. And I'll begin with what you know, that functions of the single variable, several variables. I'll be beginning with function first. And hence the second concept, I'm going to teach you about limits. And I will advance limits of the several variable calculus, values of several variables. So limits of several variables, right? Several variables. Hence, I'll teach about continuity. I have already taught you about continuity for the single variable, limits of the single variable. So continuity for the several variables. The first concepts after continuity, after covering the concepts of continuity, I'll teach about partial derivatives. Say partial derivative. What means of partial derivative? This is the derivatives, partial derivatives of several variables, or functions of several variables. Partial derivatives. Okay, partial derivatives, or PDE, partial differential equations. You'll find partial derivatives of the those functions. And then I'll teach about differential. Teach you the concept that we call mathematics differential. Then the sixth concept that I'm going to teach you, I'll teach you about higher order partial derivative. How we can differentiate differentials of the several variable. Higher order of partial derivative. Partial derivatives. Higher order of partial derivatives. That's the sixth concept that I'm going to teach you. Then you have the seventh concept. Have the seventh concept. So the seventh concept is higher order partial derivatives. Is Taylor's theorem. It's called the Taylor's theorem. Taylor's theorem. The eighth concept, Taylor's theorems and series. Taylor's theorems and the series. Then the eighth concept is maxima and minima of maxima and minima. Maxima and minima of surfaces. The ninth concept, after that, I'll teach about Jacobian matrix and determinant. Jacobian matrix and the determinant. Jacobian matrix and determinant. And next, the 10th concept, I'll teach you about composite function. So composite functions. We are still in the same chapter of function of several variable. Then I'll teach about extrema with constraint. Extrema with constraint. Finally, I'll teach applications of what? Applications of function of several variable in science and the engineering. So this is the point where we have to cover, right? So all of these concepts that we have to cover them. Maybe we can skip some of them if it's not important, but we'll be having some lectures. This is just the game introductions, then we'll go for them. We'll start with this. First, the concepts of function of several variables, then I'll take you to limits, and then continuity, partial derivatives, differentials, higher order partial derivatives. We'll be having we'll be solving so many questions. So get prepared. So this is just the one topic. So I'll be writing the concepts also you're going to cover if we go to the second topic, which we have mentioned in advance that it's called the second topic is called vector differential calculus. I'll be listing the concept that you have to cover. Again, if you go to another topic which is integrals of calculus of several variables, then you find that also I will be giving a list of the concepts that you are going to cover. So I'm giving you the light, I'm giving you the way forward so that you can go through continuously without any kinds of stop or any kinds of the obstacles around your road. And you have to enjoy the beauty of higher engineering and the scientific mathematics. So this is the end of lecture 1, and I thank God who have been with me, who have given me the gift of teaching, preparing me, and also teaching me, and even giving me strength that to teach you at this moment. And I thank God also who have given you an opportunity to be with me. I invite you in lecture 2, where now I'll be taking you inside the functions of several variables and start enjoying and see the difference of what we knew in advance and what we are not. We were limited according to the previous curriculum of advanced education or even previous curriculums of ordinary diploma, because we have never discussed anything about functions of more than one variable. So really may God bless you, and I'm still insisting you that to pray for me. I'll be praying for you. I'll like to join you. Actually, that you remember in these departments of higher engineering and scientific mathematics, we are going to teach you more than 12. We are going to teach you 12 courses or 12 modules. So we're going to have more than 500 videos. So remember to subscribe. Remember to share this content with your colleague. Remember to read the descriptions. Remember to comment or to ask questions, and use the comment sections asking questions, and leave the homework. And this is the homework that I'm leaving to you. So you have to submit your homework. And the homework is this one, right? So you have to look. What is function of several variables? What do you understand when you hear about this terminology? What is functions of several variables? Okay, so you have to answer this question. Once you do these questions, just even if a single line, you got the answer is a single line or 2 lines, just send it in the comment section there, so that as a student you can see about your work, and even myself, I can review your work. So may God bless you abundantly, and let us meet in second lecture of where I'll be teaching about functions of several variables. Then the third lecture, the fourth lecture, the fifth lecture, continuously until we finish this program. I know that it's a long journey, but God is faithful. So I would like to invite you in the next sessions, and may God bless you and keep you until we meet, when we'll be enjoying the beauty of engineering and scientific mathematics for the rest of your life.